Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake MLB DFS Wise stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And of course, I'm from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on the social media platforms listed above, or regularly at WiseTake.com if you're looking to take your DFS game to the next level. We are a premium DFS content provider, as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. Go check us out. Day Pass is available if you want to try it out. That being said, if you're new to this channel, welcome. You come to the right place for some free fire DFS content. Go subscribe, hit the notifications bell. Don't miss out on any of the free content we put out. Covering MLB slates Monday through Friday, which means shows dropping. We do them the night before, of course, Sunday night through Thursday night. And more in-depth coverage at WiseTake.com if you're interested. I read a Court Plays article. Paulie does his dirt sheet. So all that good shit. Please like the video if you can. And share as much as you can. Leave some comments. I like hearing back from you. I like hearing the feedback. Haven't had as much of an opportunity to be in the Slack or answer the YouTube comments, but want to make a more conscious effort to do so for the rest of the week. So leave some comments. Appreciate you. Okay, we've got, I think, a 9-game slate. There's a lot of games, but I think there's an early slate. I'm pretty sure. 9 games. 9 games to get to. And we got some interesting things to talk about. We've got Narrative Street to discuss, and we will. We've got a top prospect who's put up some pretty spectacular numbers to discuss. And then we have a few offenses that look all right, too. So a little bit of everything. Let's go ahead and jump in, starting with our top pitchers. And first up, Mr. Tyler Glasnow. Numbers look awesome for Glasnow. 2.87 xFIP, 2.93 SIERA is phenomenal. 36% K rate. He's at home, a very pitcher-friendly park. And he's playing the Royals. Let's take a look at how Kansas City's done against righties. So, 90 WRC plus, 300 WOBA, 149 ISO, 23% K rate. They're one of those teams. Last year they were just bad, right? But the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that, even when they weren't good, they were very scrappy. They were a team that's very tough to strike out. I feel like they're kind of in that same path now. But I do think that Tyler Glasnow obviously has some, above average strikeout stuff, right? So he is the ace of the slate. He's the best pitcher. I don't want to say he's the best pitcher on the slate, no disrespect to Trevor Bauer, who is on the slate, but matchup don't really compare. We're talking about Kansas City to Houston, right? Glasnow is also coming off of his worst start of the game. So his strikeouts have been just so dominant that he's given up runs pretty much every game his last few. He's given up home runs. He's given up a lot of home runs. He gave up 2 home runs against the Angels on May 3rd, 2 home runs against Oakland on May 8th, a home run against the Mets on May 14th, and then 2 home runs against Toronto. That was in that Hitter's Park in Florida. But despite that, outside of the Toronto start, he's posted really solid fantasy scores. 22 DraftKings points against the Angels, 25 against Oakland, 30 against the Mets, and then of course, he got rocked against Toronto. So, but that's the beauty of taking guys out of that strikeout stuff, right? You feel like you're getting a certain kind of floor. So not really comparing Kansas City and their threat level versus Houston's, which Bauer will go up against. We'll talk about Bauer and the things to watch. In the meantime, we'll move on. Pull up my little handy dandy list here. Domingo Vermont against Toronto. Herman's looked all right. He's looked solid. Strikeout rate's a little low from what we remember before what was it, PEDs or was his abuse? I don't remember. I think it was PEDs. But Toronto, man, one of those teams, man. We talked about it on the show last night about maybe stacking Toronto. I didn't follow through with that in the article. I think I bailed on them a little bit. And luckily I did stick with the Angels, but bailed on Toronto a little bit, and they ended up getting the Kluber. Kind of played out how we talked about on the show, right? So Toronto, they're tough. Like, Herman doesn't, he's fine, but he doesn't, I gotta play him. Stroman's got some really impressive numbers, and he's got a friendly matchup against the Rockies, right? The Rockies have been terrible. Literally the worst team in the league, WRC plus against righties. 147 ISO, 291 WOBA. The problem is the Rockies don't necessarily just strike out to strike out, right? Like they have like a 23.7% K rate. It's not like massive. And Stroman is almost completely bailed on the strikeouts. He was never like a huge strikeout guy, but he was capable of those kind of games. He seems incapable of those types of games. That being said, he is pitching really well. You see his ground ball rate looks good. BABIP's a little low. That's a little concerning, but the xFIP is still solid. Sierra is still solid. But 9.2 on DraftKings, and I'd really be considering him more as an SP2, I think, at this point. So I'm not sure, but he's in play. Then we skip down a little bit. Mike Minor. Nothing spectacular here. 25% K rate looks healthy. He's in Tampa. That's great. xFIP is a little higher than we feel comfortable with, but it's lower than his ERA significantly. But he's in a pitcher's park against the Tampa Bay Rays. And so anytime we get this situation, we have to at least consider it. And as we can see, Tampa Bay, 30.4% K rate. 30.4% K rate. And he's got a 25 himself, Mike Minor. So I think he's at least in consideration for tournaments, right? 8.3 as an SP2. It sounds steep out loud, but again, it's the matchup. And the Rays are one of those teams that give you that. 7.2 on FanDuel, but the quality starts always in jeopardy with Mike Minor. But anyway, Chris Paddock coming off a good game against Seattle. I don't think Paddock is elite. I think a lot of people thought he was going to be elite when he first came up. I think he could be a decent pitcher. I don't think he's elite. But he's playing Milwaukee, who is just above the Rockies in WRC plus, second to last against righties, and they have a 26.3% K rate, one of the higher rates against righties. So he's fine. He's fine. Cueto's look pretty good. Small sample, but I shouldn't say that. If you look at the results, it hasn't looked so great. But the xFIP at 3.71 is all right. Honestly, I doubt I play him too much against Arizona. So I'm just going to skip over it. But in all seriousness, if you're looking for someone cheap, I think German Marquez is extremely cheap. It's a massive park boost against the Mets and Citi Field. xFIP 3.89. Sierra higher. That's weird, right? You don't usually see a Sierra that much higher than an xFIP, I feel like. But in Marquez's case, remember that his home games are on course, which is tough. I don't think Marquez is as good as he was a few years ago, but the Mets are banged up. Francisco Lindor is ice cold. Was cooler than cool? Ice cold. So yeah, I think Marquez is definitely in play. 6.7 on DraftKings, 8.8 on FanDuel. It's kind of like why, but 6.7 on DraftKings. Yeah. All right, and the play of the day. One of the plays, I guess this could be in the what to watch, but I wanted to talk about the kid. But Alek Manoah is making his debut for the Toronto Blue Jays in Yankee Stadium of all places. Now we did see the Yankees stink it up. Steven Matz went out there to struggle him out, made him look foolish, crazy. But just to hit on this kid. We don't have a ton of sample. We only have data on him going back to 2019. Obviously, there was no 2020. And this is an A- ball. He had 6 starts. That's it, 6 starts that year. He was 0-1. Let's get this going. He had a 39.7% K rate, though. 39.7% K rate. 2.45 xFIP. 2.65 ERA. Again, 2020 we had no data on because there was no season for the minor leagues. 2021, he's had 3 starts in AAA this season. AAA. So he went from A- to AAA. He's got a 40.9% K rate. I know it's AAA, but a 40.9% K rate. A 3.08 xFIP. And a 0.5 ERA. It's wild. Yankees are very hit or miss, right? Matt's made him look pretty bad. 25% K rate this year against righties. Only a 149 ISO, 311 WOBA, 99 WRC plus. When you go up against Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, and these guys, a little intimidating. But he's only 4,800 on DraftKings. I think I'm going to take some shots. I don't know much about him. I'm going to do a little more research after the show. But what I did see, and I know there is a lot of hype around him. So if you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan, if you know something about the kid, leave it in the comments. But Alek Manoah, remember that name. He's the cover boy, by the way. If you're wondering who that was. On FanDuel, you don't have him. So the positive of that is you don't have to make that decision. One less player in your pool. The negative is he might be really good. Into top offenses. So for top offenses, the ones that stood out, again, this is a first look show. So I'm just kind of going based off of like looking at this chart and like what stood out. It really came down to 2 games. That's the Nationals, Reds, and the Braves and Red Sox. So starting off with the Nationals at home against Jeff Hoffman, Mr. Hoffman, who has a 4.71 xFIP, 4.88 Sierra. We know the Nats like to put the ball in play. Hoffman is not necessarily a good pitcher, and we'll have to check the temperatures. Game is in Washington, which could be weather influence if it's warm and humid. We'll take a look, but either way, I do believe also. Cincinnati's got the 3rd highest. Cincinnati's bullpen has the 3rd highest xFIP in the league. So I like that. On the flip side, the Reds will play Joe Ross, who's got a 5.72 ERA with a 4.9 xFIP. Reds, let's take a look at the Reds. Currently 4th in WRC plus against righties. Only a 22.9% K rate and a 187 ISO. So Mr. Joe Ross, we're stacking Cincinnati against you. Just at least a little. Red Sox at home against Drew Smyly. Morton did the dirty to him. Smiley's numbers: 5.11 ERA, 4.95 xFIP, 4.58 Sierra. The Red Sox have been really good against righties. They have also been decent, at least, against lefties. 110 WRC plus, 333 WOBA. Only a 160 ISO, but that could change. They definitely got guys with power against lefties and a 19% K rate. Expect the ball to be put in play. Smyly has a 47% fly ball rate, 37% hard contact rate, and this game's in Boston. Love the Red Sox. And on the other side of that, Braves against Nick Pivetta. So Pivetta, I think, has some regression coming. 3.59 ERA, but a 4.41 xFIP, 4.47 Sierra. Atlanta, one of the best offenses in the game. 201 ISO against righties. 201 ISO against righties. Pivetta throws a lot of curveballs, and over the course of his career, he's been slightly reverse splits. And a lot of that is because when a curveball works well, it typically works really well against the opposite hand. So the Braves are mostly right-handed, but that could work in their favor. Pivetta also gives up a lot of fly balls, and the Braves are one of the top offenses in the league. So those 4 offenses, really just 2 games, both sides, stood out to me the most, and we'll see what else breaks out. There's other guys we can discuss, Merrill Kelly against the Giants, etc., but those are really the 4 teams that stood out to me the most. I'm going to go over this now. What to watch? Only one thing here in the what to watch section, and that's Trevor Bauer, who's got great numbers, phenomenal numbers. 3.12 xFIP, 2.79 Sierra, 36.2% K rate, just edged out Tyler Glass now by 0.2, right? 183 batting average balls in play. That's going to change, you would think, at least a little bit, right? He's been a little unlucky with balls that were actually put into play. 48% fly ball rate. Here's the thing, he's playing Houston. So we'll talk about the regular baseball shit first. Houston, 18.6% K rate against righties, 110 WRC plus, right? So in addition to the 18.6% K rate, this is narrative street all day, right? Bauer was one of the main guys calling out the Astros for cheating, right? He led the campaign before anybody had a clue. While they were doing it, Bauer was accusing him of doing it and accusing him of cheating in numerous different ways. And now he gets to face him. So that's cool, right? On his new team, on the Dodgers, that should be fun. So Bauer is certainly still a fine play. I didn't discuss him in the top pitchers because I needed something for the things to watch, and this is narrative street all day, so enjoy it, whether you get a piece of either side or you just sit back and enjoy it. Definitely something to watch, something to keep an eye on. Ciao. Dong watch going Marcelo Ozuna, number 1, against Pivetta. I'm going Juan Soto, number 2, easy one, against Mr. Hoffman. And JD Martinez, man. I think JD Martinez, gets it going a little bit here against this young lefty. I don't think he's that long. I don't think he's that young, Drew Smiley. But yeah, that's what it is. All right, Nation, I appreciate you hanging out with me. That's going to do it for tonight's edition of the show. Sean V. Bauer owns the Astros. Gets up for him. Bauer did that hilarious bobblehead troll. Bregman, he did. He narrative street all day, right? Narrative street all day. I'm excited for that one. Leonard, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Good evening. Says like a gentleman. I like that. Fellas, I appreciate it. I'm getting out of here. For myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, hit the like button on your way out as always. Good luck. What up, Pat? I see you, boy. I see you, Pat. Big Pat. Let's go.
Yes.